Hello again, YouTube. I have my 125 transmission taken apart from my Turbo Sunbird, and there's some damage, as I suspected. If you recall from previous videos, I had no second gear, which is indicative of the band not applying. In this case, the band is junk. It's got a lot of pieces chipped off and missing, and you can see it's cracking. So I'm guessing it got super hot and it just took its toll. When my builder built this tranny for me back in, 2009, 2008, it was a long time ago. I believe that was a Kevlar band. It doesn't say anything on it, but there are two 125 bands, the wide and the narrow. This is the wide. It's like 1 3/4 inches wide. So that band's junk. This is the direct clutch, I believe. These overall look really good, but they're starting to get a little bit hot. I mean, you know, I'm not a transmission builder, so you may look at that and say, yeah, to me that's got hot. And these were choline steels, as I recall, also, which was, you know, the hot tip back then. So they're not smoked, but they took a beating. I mean, this thing was making, you know, again, like 262 wheel horsepower, and I forget how many foot-pounds of torque, 350, something like that. So that's, you know, that's a lot for a 125 transmission. This transmission was built to take a beating, but I don't think he believed how much power it was going to make. When he first built it, it burned up within weeks. So he went through it again and he beefed it up. That's when he went to, well, I'll show you in a minute, but a bunch of tricks. So this is the forward clutch, and these look brand new. They probably don't do anything. I mean, you know, figuratively. They look like brand new, which is nice. And this is the low reverse. These are very dark, but I'm thinking that's the color they're supposed to be, because, you know, otherwise you'd see like blue spots, burn spots. I mean, it looked bad to me. So I'm thinking the damage was mainly confined to the band and the direct clutch, right? That was the direct clutch. I'm still learning some of this stuff. I'm not a transmission builder by any means, but you know, I can fake it when I need to. So a couple of trick things in this transmission. He figured out that there's different size servos that apply the band. This is the biggest one he could find, so we went with that one. And he was trying to find the biggest one with the smallest apply piston on the back. Maybe I should say it a different way. Big. It has like it's a double-sided piston. It's big on the apply side, and the guide side, I guess you call it, is small. And this was the cover. You can see it was, you know, that was supposed to locate it. I guess we didn't need to locate it, so we just ground that off the piston and welded a piece over the back of it. I mean, again, this transmission's been in the car for 15 years, 12 years. I mean, it hasn't run and driven every day in that time, but, you know, there were a lot of miles come out of it. You can almost see where these were machined off. I can't remember anymore. There used to be there's supposed to be a land on the back of this piston that locates in that small hole, and then the big hole goes in the case. You can see in the, oh, it's on the bottom, actually. I feel like going under there. Right there, it goes in that big hole right there. So, I mean, the guy who built the transmission used to build all kinds of racing stuff, so he knew what he was doing, but I don't think he built a lot of high-performance 125s. So what we're doing could have been really odd, but it worked. I mean, it did apply really hard, used to trip second gear, all that cool stuff. So anyway, one other thing this transmission has, originally it had a 3/18 axle ratio, and the way it works in these things is I'm trying to remember, there's gears in here, I think. They give you like a final drive, and then there's another set of gears that make the axle ratio. So mine was a 3/18, so we found the right pieces to give it a 3/42 ratio. And I also bought this limited slip from a guy I know, Jeff. He runs a place called Engineered Performance. He makes a lot of front wheel drive, crazy stuff like this. I don't know if that gear is supposed to be whacked like that or what. But anyway, so this is an Engineered Performance limited slip differential. After I had the car running and driving, Jeff told me he updated them, so I have to take it out to swap in the new one. I do have the new one. It's somewhere in a box in here somewhere, but anyway, so it has limited slip. It's got a 3/42 axle ratio. I am probably going to drop back to a 3/18, the original. I have that in the box too, simply because I'm not racing the car like I used to. I don't think the 3/42s did me any good. You know, a friend of mine had a Turbo Sunbird way back in the day, and he said that he was going to drop down to a 273 so he'd get more boost up sooner. His theory was if you load the engine harder, faster, you'll build boost quicker. I mean, yeah, there's a fine line between that and having so low numerical of a gear ratio that you kill the bottom end performance. So his car was gutted. It was more of a race car than mine. Mine's a street car. But I mean, my car went 1361 with 318s. It went 1361 with 342s. Something obviously was wrong. It couldn't come out of the hole very well. But my point is the 318s weren't killing me, so I'm not averse to putting them back in, especially because I'm going to go on the highway a lot more than I used to. I'm not going to the track like I used to. I don't really care like I used to, so I'll probably put 318s back in it. I have all the pieces. I may even put the open diff in it because this thing would do long, smoky burnouts, and with the limited slip, it won't. And I'm still immature enough to like that stuff. So anyway, that is what's in my transmission. One thing I need to talk to my builder about, he's since retired, but he'll still take my calls. This is the accumulator. I think it actually goes in this plate. There's a mid plate. This thing right here bolts on there. There's an accumulator that's in the back of this case. I believe it goes in that hole. And I want to say it's, what the hell is it? There's a little piston here somewhere I put down. It's a small little accumulator. That is the accumulator for the transmission. The 1-2 accumulator, basically. That gives you the, hard or soft 1-2 shift. I gotta find it. But I told him to block it. My friend with the Sunbird race car had blocked his, and he said it was a humongous difference in how hard it shifted and how fast it shifted. So, I like them to shift hard. So I believe you block this passage right here. That's the oil passage to feed it. I gotta research that a little bit more. I have the ATSG book, and I have the theory of operations book. I'm not an engineer, so a lot of the stuff is over my head. But by talking to people who've done it and talking to my transmission builder, I'm sure we can figure it out. But anyway, what I want to do is block that accumulator so it will shift as hard as it can. It supposedly is already done, but I don't know. I don't see any Allen screws in the hole, so I have to figure out what was done there, if anything. So anyway, that's part of the journey I'm on here. So I need to get some parts and clean this thing up and get it back together again. And then I can take the engine apart, one thing at a time. And get this sucker running again. So that's my 125 tear down and what I see wrong with it. Again, it's my first one. Never had a 125 apart before. I am far from a transmission builder, so I'm doing the best I can here. So if I say something that's inaccurate or that is wrong, please correct me. I try to put this stuff on YouTube to detail what I'm doing. If I can help somebody, that's awesome. I'm not a professional at this transmission building thing. I mean, I've been a mechanic for 40 years, 35 years, but you specialize in certain things, old cars, new cars, foreign cars, Mercedes, BMW. I generalize in GM stuff from the 60s to the, let's say, 90s. So I never had one of these in parts. So all I'm trying to say is I do the best I can with the amount of knowledge I have, and I try to learn what I need to learn as I need to learn it. So that's all. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see what happens next.